The Thing That Watched from the Woods, St. James's Cemetery, Liverpool, 2002. They say you never forget your first time, and for me, the first ever ghost walk I went on in Liverpool is seared into memory, like a burn. It was autumn 2002. The Daily Post had helped organise it, and around 100 curious souls gathered at the top of Hope Street, drawn by curiosity, the promise of a fright, and perhaps a pint later. We descended into St. James's Cemetery as twilight stretched its fingers over the city. The old necropolis, nestled in the shadow of the Anglican Cathedral, is eerie at the best of times, but that night it felt different, heavy, expectant. As we moved down the winding path, I felt the group tighten up behind me. Conversations dwindled to whispers. That's when someone at the back gasped. I turned, and that's when I saw it. A column of dark vapour, blacker than the shadows around it, drifting down from the wooded slopes beneath the cathedral. It didn't drift like mist, it moved with intention, with intelligence. It came down the incline, slightly sliding between the trees, always just out of reach of full understanding, and it headed straight towards us. At first, people thought it was part of the act, some kind of clever special effect, but this was no theatre trick, this was real. The crowd began to murmur, shifting uneasy, and then it happened. The shape changed, it stretched upward, as if uncoiling. The vapour thickened into something human, cloaked, a long, shrouded figure, tall as a man, but far too still, too smooth in its movement. It hovered there, on the edge of our group, as if judging us. Panic cracked the tension like a whip. Some ran screaming up the path, others fumbled for cameras or phones. But when they later checked the pictures, all they had were smudges and streaks, just blur, as if the thing refused to be captured. A young woman beside me clutched my arm with such force, I still remember the bruise. Her eyes were wide with raw terror, and she asked me the question that probably crossed every mind there: can it hurt us? I told her the truth, or at least what I hoped was the truth. Ghosts cannot harm the living. The thing lingered for a few seconds more, then slowly turned, retreating back up the wooded slope, not fading, not drifting, withdrawing, like it had seen enough. Silence hung in the cemetery like smoke. I wasn't about to let the night end in full-blown hysteria, and thankfully my assistant was prepared. Out came a bottle of Bell's whiskey and a sack of plastic cups. We passed them round and toasted, partly to warm ourselves, but mostly to calm the nerves. Even the hardiest among us looked rattled. That wasn't a story, that wasn't folklore, that was something else. To this day, I don't know what we saw. Was it a spirit, a remnant of some tragedy buried in those stones? Or something older, something that watches over the graves, resenting the intrusion? All I know is this: that ghost walk made believers out of 100 people that night, and I've never returned to St. James's after dark without a bottle of Bell's just in case. What followed us that night into the cemetery, I'll never truly know, but I do know this: some things aren't meant to be understood, only respected and avoided after dark. This has been another tale from the strange side of Liverpool. If you've had an encounter, or if there's a place you dare me to visit, let me know in the comments. And remember, some stories don't end when the telling's done.